All right, we're going to go ahead and start with our test review. We'll start with number 1. So it says solve and graph each inequality. Show all of your work for full credit. Then write 3 possible solutions that would work with X, and your answers will vary. So remember, the very first thing you need to remember is you need to treat it like it's an equation. So if I had, for example, if I had 2 is equal to x minus 13, well, I would do the inverse operation. I would add 13 at each side. That would cancel out. Subtracting and then wanting to add it back, that cancels out. That's like saying I want to take out $5 from my bank account and then add 5 more. That cancels out. You get 15 is equal to x. So that's just like our example. If I did it like it was an equation. Now, in this case, it's an inequality, but we do the same thing. Inverse operation. Minus 13 and adding 13 cancel out. 2 plus 13 gets us 15. Bring down your symbol, bring down your variable. 15 is greater than x would be your answer. Or if you have x is less than 15, those are both the same thing. If you notice, both of the symbols, the little opening is both towards 15, so either one would be okay. Now, 3 possible solutions. Let's do the graph first, and then we can talk about solutions. I'm going to do my graph starting with 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now, remember, if it's less than or greater than, these are going to be our open circle. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, that's going to be our closed circle. Closed circle because we include it. Open circle because we don't include it. Open circle means it's not equal to. So open circle on 15. Now this says 15 has to be greater than x. The best way to figure that out is plug in a number from each side. See which one works. So let's try 13. If I say 15 is greater than 13, is that true? Yes. Let's plug in a number on this side. Let's try 18. Is 15 greater than 18? No, that's false. So I'm going to shade in the direction where my answers are true. Remember, inequalities have multiple solutions. They have numerous solutions. So when it says give some sample answers or possible solutions, it could be any of these numbers on this left side. You could say 10. If you want to go all the way down, you could say -5. Or if you want to choose even a decimal, you could do 1.5. This depends what you want. That's how you solve the inequality. So let's do the next one. Okay, x plus 17 is greater than or equal to 8. Inverse operation is to subtract, Remember, you want to get x by itself. That's the whole goal. Bring down greater than or equal to. Now, 8 minus 17. 8 minus 17. Do not write 17 minus 8. That's something else. Don't do that. If you try to solve it 17 minus 8, you will get the wrong answer. Now, if you do 8 minus 17, that should get you -9. Okay? -9 would be your answer. That's like if you start with 8, if you have your fingers, you go all the way through 8, but then you have one more, so you got to go to negative. I'm saying you don't have one more, but you go through 8, but then you got to still go through about 9 more. So if you go up all the way 9, this would be a -9. If you use your counters, you could do it that way also. If you rewrote it to add the opposite, you would still get -9. There's a lot of ways to look at it. So you would say x is greater than or equal to -9, or if for some reason you did it this way, that's fine also. Now, you don't have to do these 2 ways. Those are just optional. Some people think differently, so they have their inequality in some way or another. But if you're getting these first answers that I'm getting, stick with that. So I'm going to go at let's do 12, -11, -10. And remember, when I'm doing negative numbers, it looks like you're counting down, but this is how we count with our negative numbers. The further away from 0, it looks like our numbers are bigger, but the value is actually small. So it could equal -9. So close circle on -9. And you want the x values to be greater than or equal to 9. So let's plug in a number from the left side. Is negative 11 greater than or equal to negative 9? Nope. Okay, that's not going to work. Remember, the further away from 0 on the negative side of the number line, the less value it is. Let's try something like negative 7. Is that greater than negative 9? It is. So I would shade to the right. Now, if you want, if you don't like doing that number line or doing it the way that I had it, where you put the arrow above, you could highlight, use a marker. I don't care. As long as you're showing me which side the values are true, that's what I'm looking for. So solutions would include maybe negative 4, any positive number like 10, or any decimal that is greater like 7 3/10. These answers will vary. There's not one set of answers that works. Okay? Like I wouldn't expect you to put all 3 of these exactly. Any 3 answers will work. Next one. X divided by 3. Remember that means division. Inverse of division is to multiply. Now I'm squeezing it in there. Bring down your symbol. 2 times 3 is 6. So x is less than or equal to 6. Or for some reason you rewrote it, it looked like that. This one's fine. Okay. So let's graph it. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Close circle because I want to include 6 as a value. It could equal 6. And I want the x to be less than 6. So I shade all the numbers that are less than 6. Do not just follow the arrow. Do not just say, oh, because it's pointing in the left direction, I shade to the left. That's not always true. For example, on this one, when 15 is pointing to this direction, I'm not shading that direction. It changes. So don't just follow by the direction that it looks like. Possible solutions, you could do 1, you could do negative 3, or even if you did 0.2. There's a lot more other answers as well. The next one, 72 is less than 12x. Inverse operation, remember you want x by itself divided by, divided by 12. Sorry. 72 divided by 12 is going to get you 6 is less than x. Or if you said x is greater than 6, same thing. Let's do our number line. Let's do 1 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, open circle on 6. The 6 is not a solution. I can't include it because it's not equal to. If there's a little line underneath it, go for it because it could equal, but in this case, it will not. And I want 6 to be less than whatever x is. So all my x values are going to be greater. Possible solutions will include, you could do 10, you could do 300 if you really wanted to, 17 and 3800, those all would work. Remember, inequalities have multiple solutions. It's not just one answer. They have multiple solutions. Now the word problems. Now some of you said word problems are kind of difficult, so let's make sure that we can work these out. Write and solve each word problem with an inequality. They ask us to use an inequality, so we have to use it. Show your work. So first one, Lisa's cooking muffins. The recipe calls for more than 7 cups of sugar. She already puts in 2 cups. How many more cups does she need to put in? Read it one time, get an idea of what it's looking for. Now read it a second time and mark out or single out your numbers. The recipe calls for more than 7 cups. And she already put in 2 cups. How many more cups does she need? That's what's missing. I don't know how many she needs. That's my mystery. So think about it. She has 2 cups. She's going to add a random mystery amount. And the recipe says it has to be more than 7. So this side has to be greater than 7. That's your inequality. Let's solve it. Subtract 2 from each side. You get x by itself. You get x is greater than 5. Next one. Michelle needs 40 ounces of pecans to bake some pies. Pecans are sold in 5-ounce packages. What is the least number of packages she has to buy? See the second time. She needs 40. They're sold in 5-ounce packages. So they're sold in 5-ounce packages. She needs 40. What's the least number that she could buy? So there's 5 ounces in every package. So it's kind of like we're repeating addition over and over again, which is like multiplication. So 5 ounces per package, which is X, because it says what's the least number of packages. That's what's missing. What's missing is the number of packages. So 5 ounces per package, and she needs 40. Okay. Now, what's the least number that she could buy? Now, she doesn't want our 5x to be less than whatever 40 is. The least number of packages that she has to buy, if I solve it, I want it to be at least 40. Now, you could have more than 40, that's fine, but you don't want to have less than 40. If you wrote it the other way, 5x is less than 40, that means you're not going to get enough packages. That means you're not going to get enough. Even if you put it equal to, if I plug in one package, that means 5 packages is not gonna make my order. It's not gonna work. This is the only way that it would work. You want 5x to be at least 40. So 5x is greater than or equal to 40. Divide each side by 5. X is greater than or equal to 8. So what's the least number of packages? 8 packages. Or she needs at least 8 packages. Now on this one, if you want to say how many more cups does she need to put in, she needs more than 5 more cups. So she could put 6 cups, 5.5 cups, but she needs more than 5 cups for sure. X has to be more than 5. X is greater than or equal to 8. Number 7. At a restaurant, Daphne and her 3 friends, Amber, Jason, and Wilson, have decided to divide a bill evenly. If each person's part was more than $13, what was the total bill? Now, the first one that I see is Daphne and her 3 friends. So that's a total of 4 people. Daphne and 3 people. They're dividing the bill evenly. That's a nice little hint over there. And each person's part was more than $13. What's the total bill? That's what's missing. Because I don't know what it is. It doesn't tell me in my problem. So if I take the total bill, and it says they split it evenly amongst 4 people, and that each person's part, so after I do this math, that'll get me how much one person pays. But I know that has to be more than $13. That's how you put together the word problem. Read it once, get an idea of what it's looking for. Read it a second time, get your numbers and pull them out. Set up the scenario. There's not always a magic word that's going to say, oh, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to make it equal to. You have to read it and get the context of the problem. So x divided by 4 is greater than 13. To get x by itself, we multiply by 4 on each side. So x is greater, let's do the math, 13 times 4, 52. So what was the total bill? It was more than $52. All right. Next section. Translate each phrase into an inequality. So the value of x is less than 9. X less than 9. Number 9. 10 is not more than x. So 10 is not more than x. So 10 has to be less than x. Number 10. X is more than 15. X more than or greater than 15. Number 11, the value of x is less than or equal to 6. X is less than or equal to 6. Right, let's keep going. The backside, it says write the inequality being described. Okay, so number 12, I have a closed circle or shaded circle at -10. I know my symbol has to be an equal to symbol. Now, if I look at the shaded area, I notice that it's the numbers that are greater than -10. So -10 is the biggest number, it's actually the smallest. So x is all the values that you have. And I notice that x is greater than or it's equal to -10. That's what's being described. Number 13. Now, if you notice, they're counting by 8s. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Okay? Even works as we go negatively. Okay? So when I look at it, all my x values, and I'm here at 8, all my x values are less than 8 because -32, 0, 1 is somewhere here. They're all less than 8. So x, is less than 8. All right, equations. We know equations. For this part, make sure that you study your test. Okay? It says solve each equation. Show all your work for any credit. All right? Remember, the opposite of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. You want to get the variable by itself. (91). 455 divided by 5 doesn't get me 91. G equals 91. Next one, 15. X divided by 15 equals 12. Well, the inverse operation is to multiply by 15. Cancels out on that side. (180). Number 16. Y minus 8 equals 15. The inverse is to add 8 to each side. Inverse of subtracting is adding. 3, 23. Y equals 23. Number 17. 27 equals R plus 13. Well, the inverse is to subtract. Even if it's on the other side, you're still doing the same thing. You want the variable by itself, and you got to subtract. 14 equals R. Or if you're OCD, you can say R equals 14. Doesn't matter. Either one is correct. All right, word problems, my favorite. Okay, number 18. Keith had 15 peaches left at his roadside fruit stand. He went to the orchard and picked more peaches to stock up the stand. There are now 72 peaches at the stand. How many did he pick? So he had 15 peaches. So let's start with 15. He went to the orchard and picked up more. I don't know how many. It's a mystery, but he picked up more. But now he has 72. So he added a mystery number. Now he has 72. That is your equation. Oops, that should be 15. Let's do the math. Subtract 15 from each side. Inverse operation. Get x by itself. 57. Yeah. So 57 peaches. Number 19. How many packs of shirts can you buy with $144 if one pack costs $16? So you have $144, $16 per shirt. One pack costs 16. I don't know how many packs there are though. So it's $16 for one pack. I have to get to 144 because that's exactly how much money I have. So divide each side by 16. X is going to be equal. Well, let's do the math. Okay. So 16 can go into 14. Let me get my scratch paper and double check the work. I don't give you the wrong answer. Okay. So if I do if I do 6 times 9, okay, 6 times 9 is 54. 9 plus 5 is 14. So x is equal to 5. And that's 9 packs of 6. We're almost through it. Let's keep going. Number 20. How many ink cartridges can you buy with $176 if one cartridge costs 16? So what's missing is how many ink cartridges. I have 107 I have 106 I'm sorry, $176 and one cartridge is 16. So $16 per cartridge because I don't know how many cartridges there are. So I had to get to 176. So that is 16x equals 176. Same thing again, if we do the math, you got to make sure you do the inverse operation. Divide each side by 16. You get x by itself. Well, 16 times 11, yep, 176. No, it's real tiny, but 176. Oops, sorry. That's good. X will be equal to 11 because 16 goes into 176 11 times. So 11 cartridges. Read it 3 times. Read it once to see, oh, does it make sense? Read it a second time. Look at your numbers. Formulate your equation or inequality. Third time, read it over again and see if that makes sense. Well, if I get 11 cartridges for $16 each, yeah, that math works out. It gets to 176. All right, expressions. We need to make sure that we understand how to combine like terms. Now, I'm going to use the shapes method and your colors method. You decide which one you'd like to use. Now, Mr. Dan's doing it again to make sure we understand it. So, for example, on the first one, I'm going to put a circle around the first type of term I have. I have ones with an N. Are there any other terms with an N? Boom, right here. And when you circle a term, include the sign that's next to it. You have to include the sign that's next to it. So in this case, well, let's keep going. The next type of expression I have is negative 16. Is there any other number without a variable? Boom, right there. Remember, we only add coefficients. So do negative 18 plus negative 17. Same sign means we add like normal. Add like normal. So that's going to get us a negative 35. You can do the math. Now, negative 16, sorry, before we move on, does negative 35 n. Now, negative 16 and positive 12, those are going to clash. Zero pairs, they clash. I tell you all that all the time. So you have to subtract them. And you get negative 4. You have more negatives, so it's a negative answer. That's your answer. The next one, 22. We have a number right outside the parentheses. That means you have to do distributive property. Distributive property means take the number outside and multiply everything inside the parentheses. So 18 times 15, just for the sake of time, that gets us 270. 18 times negative 19, or just bring that subtraction symbol down, up to you. 342, and that's 342F. And then bring down that plus 13. You could just bring down that subtraction symbol if you wanted to, up to you. Now, let's see if we can combine any terms. I have 270. Any other number without a variable? Boom. Then negative 342F, that's just there by itself. Gets us 283. Remember, combining like terms just means to add your terms. Add those coefficients. Okay? Next two. Let's see if we'll make it. If I take, again, there's a number right outside the parenthesis. You have to distribute. Especially when you have a minus 17. We're going to consider it as a negative 17 when we distribute. Because when you distribute it, it is going to include that negative. Now, let me separate these. I know there's a lot going on. So, if I do negative 17 times 19, multiply like normal, okay, you get negative 323G, because there's a G with that. Negative 17 times positive 10 is negative 170. Now, on your test, I don't know whether or not there is a negative distributive problem, but just know that if you have to distribute, include that symbol right next to it. Circle that negative 13. Anything else not have a letter? Boom. Circle. This is my next type of term. Anything else with a G? Nope. Add them together. Negative 13 plus negative 170. Add like normal. Same sign, we add like normal. Can't combine this with anything else. So boom. That's my answer. Now the next one, if you want, we can use our colors. Okay, if you don't like the shapes, you can use colors. The first one I have is 5x squared minus 4x plus 9x squared. Well, let's circle the first one, 5x squared. Let's see if I have anything else with an x squared. Boom. 9x squared is also there. Then, let's do the next one. I have minus 4x. Anything else match up? Just an x by itself? No. Remember, it needs to have the same variable and the same exponent. Both have to be satisfied. You have to have the same variable, the same letter, and the same exponent. So I can combine 5x squared and 9x squared to get 14x squared. Minus 4x just comes straight down. I can't combine it with anything else. In the last section, okay? In the last section, it says, write each verbal phrase into an expression. X decreased by 17. Let's start with X. Decrease it means subtract it by 17. It's not equal to anything because it doesn't say equal. And it says expression. It doesn't say an equation. So there's not going to be an equal sign. And lastly, the quotient of 18 and n. Quotient, remember, that's our signal for divide. So I'm going to do 18 divided by n. Or if you want to write it horizontally, 18 divided by n. Either one is fine. Okay? For your vocabulary, okay? Some notes for each one. Inequality has many solutions. Equations just have one solution. An expression has no equal sign. Okay, no equal sign. Like terms, remember, same variable and exponent. Coefficients is the number in front of a variable. Now, these aren't straight from the textbook. Study the definitions from your textbook. These are just my helpful hints to help you out with study. Here I have greater than. This one is less than. Remember, the less than looks like the letter L that's kind of slanted. Over here, same thing. This is less than or equal to. And this one is greater than or equal to. On the bottom, it has things for you to study. ISN, the pages aren't accurate, but study your ISN. Look at the last test. Everyone should have got that back. Your Module 13 quiz you'll get back. And look over anything on inequalities, equations, like terms, and we're not going to worry about multiple reps. Okay? Best of luck. Study, study, study. Good luck.